And we're live. What's going on, everybody? For those of you in chat that were, wait a minute. First things first, Betty. I got to say thank you to Dee for becoming a crew member yet once again. But I want to make sure I highlighted that. Say thank you to her, definitely. I also want to highlight this one. Oh my goodness, what is? Do you have any idea what's going on with Maurice and Chad?
No.
It's like Chad ate Maurice's lunch or something. Maurice is
Oh, he got in the work fridge and got it out and he wasn't looking.
maybe because look, Maurice is always giving him thumbs down. I don't know. Speaking of thumbs down, if you haven't given me a thumbs up yet, give me a thumbs up for the great Betty Jean Cross. Let's say hello to the people in chat real quick here.
Okay.
Let's see participants. Brian B is a crew member. What's up, Brian B? How you doing, bud? Saw those pictures with you and your mom. I know you had a good Mother's Day. Oh, and happy Mother's Day for all of the ladies
Yeah.
out there listening that haven't. And for people listening after the fact on a audio podcast, hopefully your Mother's Day was great. Carmel Muncie in the house. Chris Everett, how you doing? There's crew member Crappie Day Fish on. There's my brother Chad over at Fields to Water. Man, he gave me a hard time last week, all week long. That's fine. I still had fun regardless. Joe Ziegler in the house. KY Redneck Outdoors. Maurice Cason, the great Maurice Cason. What's up, Maurice? Mr. Tully 41. There's Nubby's Catfishing. Parker Pursuits. What can I say? We'll talk about Parker once we get the show started. Nubby's Catfishing. Who popped in here? Hey, P&B Catfish. Paul Boy. Paul, what's going on? He's a crew member. How you doing? Size matters catfishing. There's my buddy KP over at Takedown Catfishing. Check him out every night on his channel Monday mornings, Tuesday mornings, and on Hog Leg's channel Wednesday mornings and Thursday mornings. They have a cool show, keep you company on the way to work or when you're getting ready for work. We got Bugman in the house, Chris Everett in the house, Dave Garchar in the house. How you doing? Fishing with Jeff Beal. There's my buddy Freddie. He's a crew member. I got to spend some time with Freddie this week too. That was a heck of a lot of fun. Freddie, we got to talk. I got an idea. JG Hill Studio. Mr. Tully, I said hello to. All right. Hey, there's Big Bill's Veterans Catfishing. Got to say hello to Lyle. I know he's watching. He always watches after the fact. He might be watching a game. Oh, are you showing stuff off, Betty, already?
Nope. I didn't do anything.
Welcome to the Catfish and Crappie podcast. Hey, there's my buddy Guerrero. You know, Guerrero, he actually hollered at me off the bridge as I was going under, the one with all the barn swallows on it. And I was like, I think that's Guerrero. I hope that's Guerrero. And it was. So he brought me a gift. It was really kind to him. I tried to get back there and actually give him a hat, but it looked like he had left, but I think he had just moved. So hopefully next time we can do that. I'll be back to Mendota pretty soon, definitely. I want to thank Chad for being a member for 24 months. Holy smokes. I've been doing this a long time, Betty.
Wow.
Long time.
Yeah. Wow.
Everybody's saying hello to one another in chat. So let me introduce to you, people in podcast land, my sister from another mother, someone I adore more than probably 99.9% people on the face of this planet. Betty Jean Cross, how you doing, Betty?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. It's rough Monday after vacation, ain't it?
Yes, I've had jet lag all day. I didn't like get moving until this afternoon.
You know my feelings on camping, and I think it tipped a little to the positive side by the end of the week. But all the unpacking and all the laundry and stuff, even with my wife's help and that, has kind of leveled it back off. That was kind of rough. I gotta definitely rethink my packing and what gear I need and all of that good stuff.
You just need a camper.
No. No.
It makes life easy, I'm telling you.
Hey, look at this. Halana's Catfish Adventure. She's been a member for 5 months. Thank you, Halana. How you doing, niece Halana? Thank you so much for your support. There's a nuts catfishing too in the house. Lance McCougai. Lance, I wish you could have made it up there, but we understand. Maybe we'll get up there together anyways. And it's catfishing. How you doing? So yeah, I gotta say hello to people when they come in. I know people in podcasts I always don't like it, but we try to make it short and sweet. You guys should come on over and be a part of the YouTube family. Get in the community. There's a lot of good channels that hang out here. You might find your next favorite channel, and hopefully I'll be like down there halfway on the list or somewhere, Betty. That's what I'm hoping for. All right, so yeah, I finally got through all of that stuff, on the unpacking, the cleaning the boat out. How about you? Are you all settled in?
I'm just finishing up laundry. Boat's cleaned out other than it needs washed, and same with the camper because, the outside of the camper is covered in honey. Yeah.
Explain that to the people who don't know what happened.
Well, we literally hit an entire hive of bees on our way up to Wisconsin last week. It was the craziest thing in the world. Scared us to death, completely covered the windshield so bad when we hit them all that we couldn't see anything until we washed the windshield. And then when we got to Wisconsin and got settled in, there was this stuff all over the front of the camper, and Brandon braved it and touched it and took a bite, and it was literally honey. So then we've been heartbroken all week because we probably wiped out an entire hive of bees that they were just trying to move their hive. It was terrible, but they should have not taken the interstate.
That's right. They need to keep on the back roads, right, Betty?
Yes. It was awful though. I mean, it
I don't
was.
know.
It was all over everything.
I don't feel so bad. I saw your camper, and I don't even think it was close to a whole hive of bees. I bet you didn't do damage to a majority of them. So
I don't know, but it was terrible. It was terrible. I mean, of all the things, I thought a swarm of bees. It was the craziest thing.
So Brandon did taste it, and it was honey.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then I was talking to Brandon a little bit, and he was thinking that they were moving their honey, so that makes a lot of sense. So
yeah, that's what they do. They all swarm together and pick it up and carry it to wherever they're going. So I don't know, but like I said, they should have chosen the back way.
The back road. So that's what they should have taken. Gosh darn it! Honey's water soluble, ain't it, or is that stuck on your camper?
Well, you can get it off. I mean, you can't just use water, but especially after it's sat on there all week.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure Dawn will just take it off if I can just use Dawn.
Yeah, but that's not good for your camper too. You're gonna have to wax it again if you use Dawn. That's the problem.
That's all right. It's got to be done.
I don't like waxing my mega cab, let alone a whole camper. And I washed a 34-foot long toy hauler in my day a few times, and that's never an easy task. That's always like a 2-jug of iced tea task, if you're asking me.
Yeah, it's not. It gets hot. And then the other incident, thankfully on the way home, everything was good. But then a car threw a rock up on us, and we've got a big chip out of the windshield. So I've got Safe Light coming to fix that next week. So always adventure.
Yeah, they do a good job. You use things and they're going to get scratched. They're going to get dirty. It is, but it's still a pain in the butt, definitely.
But we traveled safely. The only thing that had bad luck was that whole swarm of bees. So
yeah, well, that's good. And you guys had the 2 vehicles up there. It was cool. So how'd you like? Was this officially your first fishing vacation in the camper?
Yes.
And what'd you think?
It's so easy. I love it. Mm-hmm. I love it.
I know.
We've been talking about it. We've been talking about our big fall trip coming up, and then we've got a couple small trips we want to go on in between. And I want to take the dogs on the smaller trips because they love it. Those dogs love that camper. It's insane. But it's great.
It's definitely a nice ride. You gave me the grand tour of that palatial estate on wheels.
My glamper.
Your glamper. Mm-hmm. I think you even talked our buddy Luke and Tara into getting one of them.
Yeah, they came and checked it out too.
Yeah, they're ready to get it. I mean,
I'm telling you, it's all-wheel drive, and you need that really at the ramp if you're going to depend on that to be your launching device for your boat. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's wonderful. So I love it. Park, it fits in a parking spot. It's no trouble whatsoever. And it's plenty of room for 2 people for everything that we need.
Well, I remember when you guys were talking about getting a van and getting it all decked out so you could go fishing with it and that, and it turned into this. Isn't that usually the way it goes?
Yeah. Yeah. Because who's got time to redo everything? No, just buy it already done.
Now let's talk a little bit about the campground, because I think it's a pretty unique place to camp.
It is.
It's like right in the, what's the name of the, it's not actually in Madison. What's the name? Winfield? Middleton. That's it. Middleton, Wisconsin. It's a city park and or a county park.
It's Mendota County Park.
Mendota County Park, and it's right on Lake Mendota. You can't really launch your boat there, but kayaks you definitely can.
Yeah, it's a very, very shallow launch. There's no way you could get your, and if you did get your boat to come off the trailer, you probably wouldn't get up out of there.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. You know, if my boat wasn't all loaded up, I might be able to get it, because my boat's kind of built for that stuff until I got a hold of it. That's why I call it the biggest little catfish boat on the river here. So it's a little bit over. Hey, it works. It put fish in the boat. So
it did. Yes. It kept you afloat.
And it sure did. And it kept me from drowning in all that rain on Monday, but we'll get to that here real quick. So the campground's pretty neat. I'd say there was what, like 25, 30 spots there. I'm taking a guess.
There's 28 regular campsites, and then there's 5 of the boat campsites.
The boat where you can moor your boat and sleep in your boat, and they got electrical connections, which is pretty cool. I don't think I'm sleeping in my little boat, so you'd have to.
But next year, instead of driving 2 vehicles, we're going to rent the boat campsite and leave the boat in the water.
There you go.
So we've just got to get a couple lock things set up on the boat, so you don't have to worry about your electronics and all that kind of stuff. But I mean, obviously you have to worry about it. If somebody really wants it, they're going to get in it, but whatever.
Definitely.
So anyways, at least make an attempt to not make it so easy. And I think that's what we're going to do next year instead of driving both vehicles. And that was kind of my plan. But then I wasn't able to get all the information that I needed when I went to book the boat campsite. So I waited, and then I talked to that camping host while we were there about some of the questions that I had, and it's going to work out. So that's what we're going to do next year instead of drive both vehicles. But I mean, it wasn't the end of the world. We drove both vehicles. That way I didn't have to pull the camper away from the campsite every single time. Right. So if I can launch it in there and moor it at the boat campsite, it'll be fine.
I think that would be cool. That's the plan. If I had a different boat and all the compartments locked and stuff, I definitely would do that.
Then if I need to go somewhere, I'll just take your truck.
There you go. Not a problem. I'll even chauffeur. You can sit in the back, and I'll get some of that fancy bougie champagne for you to sip while you're riding back there.
We have to go get cheese. I need cheese and champagne.
That's right. Or we'll get you some fancy wine to go with that cheese. Luke over at Rods and Reloads. What's up, Luke? He says hotel is neat too. Yeah, it sure is.
Oh my goodness. You liked my camper. Don't start.
He definitely did. Fishing Freedom. So that's what we did. We came up, tied off at the little chute that's right there, then backed out, saved having a trailer or boat as much. Yeah, they would go to lunch every day, which was kind of cool. So I think next year a lot of people are going to take advantage. And I know Adam Zimmerman from Cat Claw Anchors, he actually rented a spot for the whole week, and he just launched from there. But he had, like you, he had his RV, and he didn't want to launch it more than once, which is understandable. So really, that campground pretty much has everything. The showers were clean for campground showers.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not like yours at home, but they work. One of the showers were better than the other. You didn't have to keep hitting that button. I think it was because it was broken, but it worked.
Yeah.
They sold.
We didn't have that problem over in the women's. I heard other guys talking about the the button thing, but I never had that issue.
Yeah, well, they worked, so they had
the water was hot. I mean, it was relatively clean. I mean, it wasn't spotless, but I mean, I wasn't like, ew, so I mean,
even though they had one of those big handicap porta potties too that was even closer to the campsite, so you didn't have to, or if you could make it all the way over to the bathroom facilities.
Yeah, the bathroom was a little bit of a haul. There was a porta potty right at the end of the circle, which worked out pretty good. Or if you have a glamper, you can just use your own potty.
Yeah, I thought that was coming. And you get to cook all of your meals. Betty, let me say thank you for feeding me all week long, people.
You're
Miss Betty
welcome.
Jean fed us. We had stuff like fajitas, and that was a chicken chili you made one night, right? And
Yeah.
then you made TikTok spaghetti.
Yep. Just stuff I could throw in the crock pot in the morning before we left, and literally supper was ready when we came off the water. So I did pretty easy stuff. It wasn't, and I did all of my prep work at home. Like I had all the meat already cut up, and then I froze it up, ready to just literally make dump meals and dump it all in.
Mm.
So yeah.
Well, you did go to town on that crappie fish fry that we had the first night, which was delicious, I must say. I've
Yeah.
I've been privileged enough to have a few of those meals with you and Brandon and Chad, and that they're always a highlight of any trip. And then we had the one meal that our buddy Jerry Hohausen had at
Yes.
the end. That was the fish
Delicious.
fry. He gave me a little bit of the history on that real quick. Luke says that their deluxe motorhome was awesome. Already been pricing some out.
You get you one, you're gonna love it.
Yeah, Jerry. I guess real quick that at the end of the week or towards the end of the week, Jerry Hohausen has a big old fish feed. I guess a fish fry. Everybody straps on their feed bags. He cooks fish. This year he had bluegill and walleye. They were delicious. Had some good potato salad he bought from the Costco, which was awesome.
And Ken's beans are always awesome.
And the beans were good. And not to say the homemade cherry cobbler. Holy smokes. That was so good. Jerry actually took real cherries, pitted them all, cooked them down. And I'm not a big cherry fan when it comes to desserts, but that stuff
Me either, but it's good.
That stuff was the bomb. That stuff was phenomenal. It wasn't too sweet, wasn't too tart. It was just perfect. So there's the food portion of the show, which we always got to go to on my podcast. So
did you see what Parker said about the shower?
Wait. Let me scroll back through chat. What'd he say? Parker. Jerry says, stuck my pocket knife in the slot and the button kept it pressed. There you go.
I love it.
Fisherman. Speaking of Jerry, man, Jerry got that hog of a catfish yesterday. 80-pound blue on the Mississippi River. Congratulations.
He beat me by 0.9. No, I don't think. I think his biggest is bigger than that, anyways.
Yeah, I think Jerry may get into that 100-pound class this year, definitely.
Yeah.
Hopefully, he's entered in on all the Mad Cats giveaways over on the Mad Cats Facebook group. You get a number, you show your weights, you zeroing it out, the whole normal deal. Check out that Facebook page for details. And I think he's definitely in the running this week for that $500.
Oh, awesome.
So that would be cool. Jerry can pay for all our fuel to get to Mendota next year with that money.
Let me tell you, he can fish.
He's definitely got it going on. Congratulations again, Jerry. So that brings us back to fishing. So we went fishing the very next day. Well, you and I did. Went fishing. It was pouring on Monday.
Yeah.
It was rainy. I had my new bibs on. They worked fairly well. I thought they leaked through, Betty, but they didn't. I think I just got cold towards the end of the day.
Well, and that's what I was telling people. I know that Striker's really up there, but I have never had the opportunity to use Striker gear, which I'm going to eventually. But all of my experience and my mom's experience and a few people that I know with rain gear is once the gear gets so wet, because the inside is what keeps you from totally getting wet, then it just creates this cold atmosphere around your body. Even though you're not wet, you still feel wet. Even with the higher dollar stuff, like I said, I don't know anything about Striker, but I've used quite a bit of all the other stuff. So it got us out there for, I think we did 4.5 hours before we were miserable, and it was nonstop, downpour, raining, blowing wind. I mean, it was nasty.
After you went in, I had that lake all to myself. I was out there for like 8 hours.
I know.
I was like, I am gonna put some fish in this boat before I leave. Yeah. And then I put one on. I'm like, well, there's got to be another one somewhere. And there was. That was a slow day, but I kind of stuck. I
don't remember how many fish we put in the boat that day, but I want to say most days we put in 8.
You guys slayed it over there, but we'll get to that.
I don't remember day for day. I just remember the last day was really tough for us. Some people really did well in different areas, but I had a bad day the last day, but we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, I don't think, because of the weather, and it's been cold here in
Mhm.
the North Midwest, let's call it,
Mhm.
the northern end of the Midwest from Chicago on up.
Mhm.
Um, I think that kind of put everything on pause. I mean, the fish were there, the bite was there,
Mhm.
um, but I don't think it was ready to be as good as it usually is there.
Well, here's my thoughts on that. So the first year that we went, we weren't putting huge numbers in the boat, but we were putting quality fish. We were catching huge sized fish the first year we went. Last year, I don't feel like the size was there as much, but the numbers were there. We caught large numbers of fish. This year, we didn't have numbers and we caught some nice fish, but it wasn't like all quality fish. It was all over the place.
Mhm.
So, I mean, it was just mediocre. But you know what? If we go every single year, we are bound to have a time where we just don't hit it right. And I feel like we were a little early this time, but we still put fish in the boat. I mean, it's just part of it. You can't always hit them when they're on fire like that. It just don't work that way, especially
Yeah,
if you live as
if
far
it
away.
was that easy, you'd get bored. I always say that.
Exactly.
So that keeps you going. We're already thinking about next year, and we're definitely going to keep going back there. So, if
Oh, yeah.
anything, even to hang out with Jerry and going real back to, I had the opportunity to fish with him later in the week. We'll go over the fishing part of it, but he kind of went into the story about how that whole get together got
Mhm.
happened. Before even like Facebook, they were on. Now, if you're watching this, I know he goes back and watches it after fact. I'm not sure if it was the Brotherhood of Catfishing or Catfish One or one of those old time forums that he was a part of. That's where he met so many of these like legendary anglers, including
Mhm.
people like, Lyle Stokes and a bunch of other people that we had
Mhm.
talked about that actually made it up there for him. A
Mhm.
lot of the Whisker Seeker guys go up there, a lot of their pro staffers, because they're in Iowa, and it's same kind of ride I have, maybe an hour longer.
Mhm.
But it's really good. And talking to him, I definitely had a great day. I did. He had a lot of stories to tell. Accomplished cabinet maker, built his own house. Guy
Mhm.
fishes hard. He's flying into Canada next year to go after big walleye and some trout up there. That
Mhm.
sounds like a good time. He told me, he's like, Mark, you should come with us next year. I'm like, let me know.
I
So
talked to him after the fact, and he really did enjoy fishing with you that day. You had already left. You left a day early, which I totally get. But we talked about it, and I thanked him very much for going fishing with you. And he just expressed how much of a wonderful time he had.
look at this. There's Richard. What's going on, Richard Ward, Mad Cat or Catfish? He says, what was the largest channel caught?
Can I say? Can I say?
No, I have to say it to show that I can be humble.
Okay.
Congratulations, Chad Fields, on the best fish of the week. It was what,
Yes.
25 and a half, Betty? Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes.
25 and a half. So
Go to
that was
Chad's
good.
page. You'll see it. There was a big old bullheaded male, just as black as coal. Head was all swelled up. Literally the only fish that I seen a full head, all like spawned out, swelled up head. Out of all the fish caught, that's the only one that I seen like that. It was beautiful and it was so black. Yeah, it was gorgeous
They
fish.
get those spawn bumps on their head. I don't know what the
Mhm.
scientific name is for them, but man, they just look mean and nasty, and they fight
Yes,
twice as hard, and they're
but
full
I
of
think it's beautiful.
piss and vinegar. They're great fish. I hooked in. I did get one that was 25 or here we not 25. I'm sorry, 24 pounds, 6 ounces, so 24 and a third pound. That's the exact weight.
Yep.
If somebody asks me, I'll just say 25 pounds. That's close enough. We're going to go back and get one of them probably this year.
Mhm.
But congratulations to Chad. So it's going to be a
They
long year.
had such a great year. Chad and
They,
Dee had a great year this year. They killed it. They both got new PBs and catfish. I think Chad caught his very first ever pike.
mhm.
Um, and they caught something else. Oh, a largemouth.
They're largy.
And he killed it with numbers this year. And they both got new PBs. Dee never did get that 20. Daggone it. She was supposed to get it on my birthday, and Chad stole it from her. I swear he did. They had a 20 that day, and he stole it. It's his fault, and that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
My story is that 25 should have been D's, but that's just
Yes.
he caught it on her rod on that.
Well, okay, so we've talked about this too. They take turns in their boat. Like if the first rod goes down and Dee gets it, the next rod is Chad's, no matter whose it is. And that's great. That's wonderful. That's not how we do it on our boat, but that's how they do it on their boat. So it's just been luck of the draw for them. And unfortunately, she got in the wrong line up there. So, but that's okay. She'll get it next time. But her and I had this thing going on, not last year, but the year before, when we surprised her and took her to Alabama. I caught my 80-pounder on her birthday. So this year on my birthday, she was supposed to catch her new PB, but Chad stole it.
That's okay. There's always next year. We'll go back. Yeah. Mad Catter says that I believe the humps are males. Yeah, I believe you're absolutely right. And Jerry Parker says swelled up head perfectly describes Chad.
Yeah, he couldn't hardly fit his head wouldn't fit through my camper door that day. It was stuck. It wouldn't go through.
When I got that 24-pounder, the 24 and a third pounder, I looked, he was literally like 150 feet from me. And I go, oh boy, Chad, you're going to be upset. And I could see his demeanor just go south.
I didn't even know what happened because I was on the other side of the bay and I called you about something and you were like, I got the hog in the boat. I
got a slob in the boat. I think I told you.
I kept watching over there and I seen Chad coming up on you and I was like, oh my gosh, he must need help. And I thought Chad was coming over there to help you. And then I seen that it's just where they were dragging by. So
nope, it wasn't big enough, but it was a big fish. I did.
Oh, it was a beauty.
Yeah, it was a big slob. A lot of fun, and that one fought pretty darn hard. I mean, it earned that weight, and it was a female. It wasn't even a big male. I was kind of surprised about that. I haven't caught too many females that I think the biggest female that I've caught there was this week. The biggest ones was that one, and I caught a 21-pounder, I think, or 22. I don't remember. I didn't write down the weights.
Every one of our fish that was over 20 pounds, which there was 4 of them, were female.
Yeah, there was a lot of females, and maybe this is too much information. And again, I keep saying this because I don't claim to know anything. Only what I see and what I've experienced is what I share with people. And I was in the back in the sloughs back there on Cherokee, and there was hundreds of catfish back there rolling around in the water. They weren't carp. They were hitting my boat. Literally, I could see them surfacing like 2 feet off to the side of my boat, and they wouldn't bite for nothing. There were no scales on the fish. They still had that brown tan look, like they just moved in there. Their beige, their dark gold color that catfish have. I know carp are gold too, but they were definitely catfish. And I have no idea what they were doing. But that was frustrating to see all those fish and not one bite, which makes sense if they were in the height of the spawn. So once they're done, I think the feed will be on. I think they'll be hungry, ready to eat. So
it was just confusing though this year because we only caught a couple fish that had spawn marks on them where they were beat up. And then I didn't find the males that we did catch were not bullheaded, like swelled up bullheaded. I wasn't seeing that. We predominantly caught females. And then my 2 largest fish were females and they were all belly. Oh my gosh, the belly was insane. Huge.
I caught I think it was 16 or 17 pounds, somewhere around there. And it's like it swallowed a freaking football or something.
Yes. Or a couple basketballs on my big girl. I kept calling her Chubby Mama because she was ready to have those babies. Oh my gosh, her belly was huge.
Oh yeah, definitely. Stephanie and Richard were there too, the Fishing Freedom couple, which I got to talk with for a while. They were awesome. It was a good time. Richard and Stephanie both got PB cats too, and Marcia got a PB pike and a bass.
Bass.
Let's take a break real quick and talk about some of the other fish caught. I remember it was on the last day I was there, wasn't it? We'd both put our baits in the water. We were fishing pretty close to one another. We were dragging baits right off the get-go. And Brandon hooked into a smallmouth bass on cut bait.
I caught a smallmouth at night
And
too.
you caught one too at night. And I was kind
Yes,
of
and they
surprised.
were really respectable smallies. I mean, they really were nice sized and they looked very healthy and they did not appear to be old either. So they have apparently a very good bass population there.
And then the pike I saw,
Buffalo.
it was Richard, I believe, who had that big 30, what was it, 38 incher, I think it was, but
Pike, yes.
it was a big, and it was a
Yeah.
fat
Yeah.
slime rocket.
We caught two. There was a 32 incher and a 36 incher that we caught. Now the 36 incher looked sickly and skinny, honestly, in my opinion, but the 32 was fat and healthy. So, but like I said, I really think I'm not familiar with northern pike behavior at all.
Yeah,
So I don't know if they kind of come up when when the ice is off and stuff, and if they're puny from not eating or something, I'm not sure. But the 32 was really a nice, healthy looking fish, but that 38 was skinny.
I caught a 32 inch on Monona just 2 weeks prior to that, and it was skinny as well. You figure at 32 inches there'd be some girth to it, but there wasn't. Maybe, and Luke would know. Luke says a buffalo were back there too, spawning. They were.
Oh, really? I never seen any buffalo. Wow.
I didn't see any either. But I'm sure he's right. He knows what he's seeing. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. All I know about pike fishing is, weed lines in the winter. That's when I usually get them.
Yeah,
and they love dead bait. I've never caught them like on buzz baits or anything like that. I've never really tried.
Right.
So
I'm not familiar with it at all, but I did see some people actually targeting pike, and it was really neat. They were in a canoe with a trolling motor on it. And they had spoons on, and they had multiple hooks, because I know you're allowed 3 hooks per person in Wisconsin. And I think these people had 3 hooks on this one rod, and they were literally trolling like 3 miles an hour, just flying across that water and picking those pike up like crazy. It was awesome. It was cool to watch.
I was always, being a catfisherman, we troll at what, 0.4, 0.5, 0.6 miles an hour. When I started trolling for like walleye here on the river, I was told to troll 1 mile, 2 mile an hour. I was like, that's kind of crazy. I wasn't used to that. I did it, and it works.
They were flying so fast, their little trolling motor was making a wake like in that shallow water. I mean, not a big wake, but you could see, and they were just zooming through there, and their little spoons on those things was through the water. It was nuts.
Yeah, Jerry did. He says, Richard says, it was a great trip, Jerry. New PBs and new species for them both.
Yeah.
That place is just so much fun. That kind of sums up the whole thing. I'll say it again at the end of the show, but I just, every time I think of that place, it brings a smile to my face. And I live relatively.
Special place. It's a special place. It really is.
Don't know how else to say it.
And then, like I have always said, even the fishing has not been absolutely terrible, but you notice when you catch 90 some fish one year and then you don't. And the next year, which is fine, but the friendship and the fellowship just makes it does. And we were missing quite a few people this year, and it's totally understandable. I get it. I just hope we get back to getting everybody together, because it's the greatest part about Mendota.
Well, people can't make it. People have to leave early.
Exactly.
People, it is what it is. But as long as you're there in spirit, and people are always thinking of you and they're missing you. Some of the people that didn't get to make it was obviously Lyle and Richard from Mad Cat. We missed him. Ernie and Chrissy, obviously Josh, the weekend angler.
Yeah.
All guys. James Dockery wasn't able to make it this year either. We were definitely thinking about all you guys. We were having fun. So, but you guys were definitely missed. So it looks like Tara got an 18-inch largemouth too.
Wow. I didn't measure. I didn't even measure my smaller. I mean, I shouldn't call them smaller, but smaller for Mendota size cats. We were only looking at if we thought they were 18 or above, really is what we were weighing and that kind of stuff. But which there was really no tournament type of thing going on. But then I found out later that there was a tournament going on. I didn't even know it.
There was during it? I thought they had
Freddie had something going on, and I didn't even know it. He said that whoever caught the biggest catfish while he was there won his tournament. And by 1 hour did I beat
1 hour. I caught
my hour. there.
I caught my PB an hour before Freddie got there.
And mine was 24.09. So it was smaller than Mark's fish. And Chad's was 25.5. And neither one of them have this. I don't care if they beat me in size. They don't have this. They do not have this.
You should have filled it up with champagne and drank out of it in front of me. That would have worked too.
Don't you worry about what I do with my trophy.
Hey, there's Chad. Chad says he missed everybody a lot too. So
we did. But we make do with what we got, and we had a good time.
I think next year we need to do like one of them Calcuttas where everybody puts a little money in the hat and big fish any given day. Maybe we'll do $5 a day or something like that and have one every day. I think that would be a lot of fun. Maybe there's some ideas. So I'm gonna. I was having ideas on me versus Chad that last week, right?
Oh God!
And I'm glad I didn't say it because I lost. One of my ideas, Betty. Now can't believe I'm saying this. Was that the person
for next year?
The person? No, it won't. It won't. It's time sensitive. The person who lost would have to wear a Bud Light T-shirt on their next live stream. That was my idea. I'm glad. I'm like, you know what? That might backfire. I really don't want to do that, so I kind of kept my mouth shut.
Chris Lee still needs to wear a tutu. I'm waiting on that picture.
What tutu? What was that about? I must have missed that.
His fish was 22.22, and I told him he had to wear a tutu, and he still hasn't wore a tutu.
Did you see a picture of the scale, or do you think that was a troll?
I don't know. I didn't see pictures of scales, but I don't have any reason to believe anybody's lying. Unless it's Betty Jean and her big belly fish and she's messing with her brothers.
See, look at this. Look at Chad says, you look great in a Bud Light shirt. It would suit you. Oh, boy.
Okay, well, moving on. Let's see. We talked about how rainy and nasty it was on day 1. Day 2 was beautiful.
Day 2 was beautiful. Day 2 was nice overcast day. It was perfect catfish weather.
Well, that was the day we put the most fish in the boat for us.
Yep, for me too. I think I had a 6 fish day. I could be off by 1 or 2.
I think we had 14 on that day, but that was including a pike and I don't remember, a largemouth maybe. So not that many cats, but that was our best day. And then the next day we thought, oh, it's warming up. It's going to be nice. It's going to be awesome. Nothing. Oh my goodness. Did that day suck? We had to work so hard and there were so many people out there fishing.
But it was just those bluebird skies that was on the next day, right?
Yes.
That was rough. I think
oh my God.
I gave up in the morning. We're doing like the Dragon Baits Ballet, I like to call it. We had all the boats out there going back and forth, crossing past. No one's getting fish. I'm like, I hightailed it across the lake. I'm gonna find some panfish, some perch, or some bluegill, which was unsuccessful. But I put a lot of time on my motor looking, not for lack of trying.
Right.
I talked to a couple of guys out there in the water. And they're pretty tight-lipped, but a couple of them did talk. Apparently, all right, real quick, I went to the bait shop to go get some suckers. And I was talking to the guy. When you walk into DNS Bait right there in Mendota or in Madison, there's a sign that says fishing information given, no problem. I'm like, well, we'll ask, we'll see, So I'm buying suckers. And we get to the counter. I'm like, all right, where are the bluegill at? I'd like to catch some bluegill, right? The guy says, I'll tell you where anything is. Anything, but I will go to my grave before I tell anybody where the bluegill are on Mendota. I was like, ooh. So that really piqued my interest. I'm like, there's got to be some good ones out there. So I went looking.
You know why the reason for that is literally almost every species in that lake hits on bluegill
and perch. They eat them both. I checked all the drops. I checked humps, points, different depths. Every 5 feet I was scanning, I'd find, I started in like 8 feet, and then I went to like 12 feet, and then I went to like 17 feet and scanned all of them back and forth, side to side, and I wasn't marking anything but like bass for the most part.
And it took you forever to get across the lake.
It did. It's a big lake. My boat, I was doing 25 miles an hour to get across there, but I was doing a lot of scanning. So there was a lot of slow going, 3-4 miles an hour for a lot of it too. Once I got to a point, I was looking at my Navionics information and going back and forth and trying that. And I marked a lot of bass. Real quick, back to day one. I wanted to catch some fresh bait. So right before I was done, after I got rained on all day, real cold. It was, cloudy. It was still drizzling. Right when I got to the boat ramp, I put my live scope in the water, perspective mode, and I saw nothing but a stack of walleye, a big pot of walleye right there. I had nothing really to catch them with. I had no plastics or no bigger hooks. I did cast some Berkeley gulps to them, but they weren't having it. And the next day they were gone. They moved out of there. So
yeah.
With that being said, there was a ton of walleye, and they looked like good. I had the grid on my live scope, so I could tell what size, and they were all at least 16s and plus. I'm guessing from the size of them, so it was pretty impressive to see them. Okay,
and go ahead.
Go ahead, Betty.
I was gonna say that was the day that the cats really everybody was struggling, and then that was the day Brandon and I put in like 15 some odd hours because we stayed out for the night bite, and we got on quite a bit. I mean, it wasn't amazing, but compared to the rest of that day, we were able to put some numbers in the boat for that day instead of come out skunked. And I'm pretty sure that was the day that they really started not making a massive push, but the cats started making a push, because I think that was the day that Luke and Tara did pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
And they were
I actually know Wednesday was a day that was really horribly hot and bluebird skies. And I don't think they showed, was it a Wednesday when they showed up? I think where did I see?
Yeah, I don't remember. But anyways, the day that we were really struggling, I think they were doing pretty good. Yes, and I seen lots of crappie coming out by the docks. I did see that. Yeah, see, that was the only day we crushed. I think that was the day that we were struggling, but we were fishing differently and in different areas. So, but yeah, typically, speaking of how we fish up there, the first year we were there, everybody was anchoring and fishing was great. There was no problem. You just anchored up and they were moving. So you just waited a little bit and they came to you. There was not a whole bunch of moving. The year before, or last year, it was stick and move with anchor. And then Chad had the brilliant idea. He's like, we're not catching, do what we know. We know dragging. So we started dragging and we started covering water and we started putting numbers in the boat big time last year. This year we were anchoring up and not really catching anything, and dragging was even kind of tough, but we had to cover water to get anything. And that's why we kept dragging, even though we weren't putting a ton of fish in the boat, because there was a time that day when it was really hot and I wasn't feeling really good and I was tired. So I told Brandon, I said, let's just anchor up somewhere, eat some lunch, and I'm going to lay down on the bow for about an hour and take a nap. And I ended up sleeping a little bit longer than that. And we were anchored up for like 2 hours and nothing, not even a nibble. It was nuts. And right back to dragging. And yeah, it might take you an hour to catch a fish, but you at least were covering water and getting some fish. So, and we were making some trails too. And so I was starting to figure out some paths and different things like that. If I'd had more time, I think I could have figured out a lot more about the bay as they were really moving through. But we were starting to get it figured out.
They were all wandering for the most part. We were catching fish
a lot, but
I think they were sticking more to depth than they were structure. At least that's what I learned.
I don't know. Here's what I learned about it, because when we started marking every fish that we were catching, I had a path. So I don't know.
Where was that path crossing? A certain where you catch them in the same depth? No.
It was in line. It was slowly getting shallower. So I think it was like where they come up out of the deep and then they would go back. So, but I don't know. When I started figuring that out was towards the end of the week, but I looked and I started seeing the dots and I was look at this trail. And so we started around that trail and we were catching fish. So I don't know.
If you looked at my GPS, my trail was like this all over the place. It looked like spaghetti.
Mine looked like a flower. It was everywhere. It was insane. Brandon brought that up. He said it looks like a flower.
Towards the end of the week, I started marking the not necessarily, because once you catch a fish, if you're dragging baits, you're a little bit past it. But if you still mark it on your GPS, you can connect the dots with your tracks later on.
Mm-hmm.
You know where to go.
Yeah.
I started doing that, and that helped. The last day I spent anchored up with Jerry. That's how we wanted to fish, and I'm definitely going to do what he wanted, and that worked out well.
Oh yeah.
We put some fish in the boat. But anyways, yeah, you're absolutely right. It was all seemed in that one spot. For the most part, you'd pick up, those 2 spots. You know the ones I'm talking about. We won't get into any specifics. I thought you froze, Betty.
No, I was reading a comment. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, we got a comment from Matt. He says, wait. I barely heard anything of Betty crappie fishing. I thought she was a slab slayer. She is a slab slayer.
Let me talk about that. So my entire year of catfishing was taken away from me because of family health issues last year. And I spent as much time as I possibly could crappie fishing for fear of grocery money. And I have so much crappie in my freezer. It's absolutely ridiculous. But my family was fed, and I did not get a catfish like I wanted to catfish last year. So right now, I'm not worried about crappie until fall. I want catfish. Yeah,
I checked my crappie supply in the freezer, and I'm pretty happy with it too. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy.
I got some pounds. It's just me and Sheila, and we're not.
Yeah, well, it's just Brandon and I, but I do like to have fish fries. I always want to make sure that I have enough crappie to bring to Mendota every year, and my aunt's actually flying in next week, so we'll be having crappie with her, and yeah.
Yeah, my mom dropped the question on Mother's Day. She's like, "So when are we having this crappie fish fry?" So
you better have a crappie fish fry for your mom.
We're gonna have one. She wants to have a barbecue. I thought about bringing my fish fryer over there and doing it while the whole family's over there. Kill every bird with one stone that way. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I
got some catfish fillets too, and there's some channel cats. So I'll bring those. She's been wanting a lot of channel cats. Yeah, I know you're not a fan of channel cats, but I wish Sheila was. And then it'd be easy going, to be honest.
I will catch them all day long. I am a fan, but
not for eating though. You're not.
I can, but it's not definitely nowhere near the top of my list. It's like eating potted meat compared to prime rib, but I can do it.
I don't know if it's that bad, but it might be like the difference between turkey bacon and real bacon. That I might say.
Yeah, there you go.
There's my analogy for it.
So. That works. But yeah, I mean, I can eat it, but if there is any other fish cooked, no. I'm eating whatever else it is because it's got to be better.
Perch is pretty good too. So is walleye and bluegill. I'm starting to be a bigger fan of bluegill as far as
bluegill's delicious. Bluegill's delicious. And let me tell you something funny. My famous breading everybody talks about. I don't like my breading on bluegill.
No,
it's the seasoning. I do not prefer the seasonings on bluegill. It's only on bluegill. You can use it on any other fish. Well, I haven't tried everything, but a lot of them, and I do not prefer my own seasonings of my breading on bluegill.
So what do you put on your bluegill?
I'm not telling you.
That was just me giving oh my God. All right, Paul, you can tell me after the show. I don't need exact measurements. Is it a different kind of breading, or is it just spice, or what?
The spice is different.
Okay. All right, gotcha. Yeah. Enough said. I use the same stuff. I got a bunch of stuff that was sent to me by Whisker Seekers, which is actually pretty good as far as breading goes.
We tried it. It's not bad.
It's not bad. It's a little salty, but I like salt. The spicy one is nice and spicy, especially if you're do the marinade in Frank's. That's pretty good, or Crystals. I'm really starting to like Crystals. You reminded me about how much I like it when you bought some just for me. That was so awesome of you, by the way. But yeah, that's good stuff. Also, Luke had brought up the Catch and Cook sees our breading. He says that's supposedly the best one out there. I'd put it up against yours any day. So I'm gonna have to order some of that, and I'll be the judge. We'll see how that goes. So see, we always go back to food.
The Whisker Seeker one though, I got it free. I ordered catfish and carp rods before we went And I will make sure I have a full spread of those next year. You talk about fun. Oh my
Yeah, I
gosh.
was just gonna say, I was gonna bring that up. I know that Brandon put a big one on the boat with that catfish and carp rod, right?
Yes, all of the eyes were clear under the boat except for the last one. It was so amazing. It was so much fun.
I know
It
he's running 10-pound test on there too, so
10
that
pound
had been
test.
fun. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah, it was a blast, an absolute blast. I said, we will have a full spread of those next year for sure. I will have 6 of those across the boat. You can guarantee it. So,
Were you guys
yeah,
just anchoring with those? You weren't dragging with that rod, were you?
I did long line with them. I didn't put a board on him. I didn't put a planer board on him, but I did long line with it. And I caught a small one, like a 12-pound, but oh my God, it was just never ending. And those 12 all the way up to like an 18-pounder, those things fight. My God, do they fight all the way around the boat, just rip and drag. It was just insane. So much fun. And not that those big 20s aren't fun. They are fun, but they don't have the fight. They just have the weight. They're
Mhm.
heavy and you're really working with their weight to get them in. And they're not going absolutely psychotic in the water. Those high teeners, my God. We were anchored up and I caught the meanest female catfish I have ever encountered in my entire life. That fish, excuse my French, tried to beat the living shit out of me for 10 minutes, it seemed like. It never stopped. And when I finally got that thing back in the water, you'd thought I just wrestled a hippopotamus. Brandon was like, that's the meanest fish I ever seen in my life. I said, that is the meanest fish I've ever seen in my life. She was so mad. And
Is
I
that
can't
the one
believe
that bit Brandon?
yes.
Yeah.
And she tried to spine me. And thankfully I had jeans on that day. If I'd have had like leggings or something else on, she'd have got me. She never stopped. I could not get her to calm down for even 1 second to get a hook out of her mouth, get a grip on her or anything. She never stopped. She ran that hook through my hand and not all the way through it, but still, like she just never quit. She never quit. And I was exhausted by the time I got done dealing with her. And I think she was 16 pounds. I never could get the scale to lock because she
Scale the
was
lock.
having a seizure on it. So.
Yeah. That big female, my PB was that way. I was kind of surprised that being that size, she fought that hard, but she was all over the place. I did hook her on a planer board. I was dragging baits, and I was 100 yards behind the boat, easy.
Yeah.
So it was a long fight, and she wasn't tired once I even got her to the boat. She was
Mm,
swimming in and around the boat and
yeah.
tried to get stuck in my trolling motor. I had to lift it up. And
Mm-hmm.
it was quite the fight. But once we got her in the boat, she was not happy either.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't get the grippers in here to weigh her. She wouldn't open her mouth. She was like, She's like,
Yeah.
not gonna happen.
That's the
So
way the trouble we had with that female. I don't know. Them females were awful feisty this year.
looking for them strong males. I got to put them to
Mm-hmm.
the test, is what they're doing.
Yep. Oh, and you know what? I forgot to mention, I seen this in chat earlier talking about other species. Richard caught a giant snapper.
Oh yeah, that's right. Like he said, he got his 30-pounder, and I believe that snapping turtle was 30 pounds.
That thing was huge. As soon as I showed Brandon, he said, "Oh, I hope we don't catch one of those." I said, "I'm cutting the line. I ain't messing with it."
None of us use stainless steel hooks, so I think that'd be fine. It'll rust out. I say I'm not going to get into it. I have a saying that I used to do, but we won't say that here. We'll say that when we're sitting around the campfire.
Yeah. And then towards the end of the last couple of days, I know that Chad and Dee were killing it and we were struggling, and I figured out they were not feeling the bluegill the last couple of days. You guys were killing them on suckers. And I had just bought a handful of suckers and I had already used them. So I had nothing but bluegill left.
You should have hollered at me. I had some.
Well, you were gone Saturday, right?
Oh, it was the last day. Okay. Yeah.
Yes. Friday we were putting some in, but I had used my last suckers and I was putting some fish in the boat. But Saturday I didn't have anything but bluegill left. And the suckers that everybody did buy died. So I didn't want to go buy any because I thought, I don't want to pay all this money and them die.
Hmm.
And they were even keeping them aerated and everything was
They,
good. So
they did all right in my bait. Well,
that
they
was
did,
the first batch. That's where mine came from. But
yeah.
then they went back and got new ones and they all died again. I think Chris and Freddie's died. Chad's died. His was in the live well running and they just went to go get one and they were all dead.
Hmm.
It made no sense. So I didn't get out of the boat for the last day to just go get some because they were dying because I thought
Right.
about it. And we only put 2 fish in the boat that day, but we only fished half a day. I was tired. I was grouchy. I did not sleep good. Woke up on the wrong side of the camper. And yeah, we would have shared our dead suckers with
Yeah,
you.
but D over at
Yeah.
Campground D Fishing
And
says we
so
would have shared our dead suckers with you.
everything was frustrating me that day, which was kind of crappy because it was my birthday. But, you know, the birthday thing, it's just another day. It didn't really matter. So finally, I told Brandon, I said, I need you to take me back to the camper because I need a nap. I'm tired and I'm grouchy and nothing's working out for me and everything's making me mad. So I took a nap and I just like a perfect toddler. You take a nap, wake up just fine.
I was gonna say you're never crabby, Betty.
Oh my God, I was so crabby that day. Oh,
Not usually. She's pretty good about it. Betty's always upbeat for the most part. We all have bad days.
it
Rods
was
and
bad.
reloads. Luke says I threw so many suckers away Saturday. Shoot,
Yeah,
he would have.
yeah.
Must have
It's
been
okay.
water
It's
temperature.
all
That's
right.
the
It
only
just
thing I
wasn't
can.
meant to be. You know, it just
Yeah,
wasn't meant to be.
it might have been water temperature because it did get a little warmer, right? And they
I
like
don't
cold
think
water.
so because they were really putting them in the boat, and I think my frustration and aggravation with everything wasn't helping anything because
Yeah,
when you're out on the water and you get frustrated, you just start not doing things right, and it does affect your fishing. And I
100%.
that's exactly where it was because literally everything was making me mad. Everything. I was just in a mood.
My biggest hurdle is that first fish. I get kind of not stressed out, but I get kind of anxious wanting to get that first
Mhm.
fish in a boat, and
Yeah.
that one's always the hardest one. And I think I sabotage myself by having that mindset. So
Hmm.
that's definitely something I've been working on. Because
Yeah.
once I get that first fish in the boat, I can kind of sit back
Hmm.
in my Millennium seat and relax. I put my feet
Hmm.
up. I think Luke even has drone footage of me sitting in that boat with my feet
Yeah.
up,
Yeah.
kick back, and things seem to
Even
work
that
better.
drone. Wasn't that cool?
Yeah, he was assaulting us. I almost mooned him the one time. I went to
You
do it, and then
should
I'm
have.
thinking, no, I don't know if I want that out there.
Well, see, I tried to get Brandon to do it. I said, I can't do that. I said, he can't have footage in my blind. I said, you moved him.
uh that was cool to see him flying that thing around. He was buzzing us by pretty close.
It sounds like a swarm of bees, don't it?
It does. Hopefully he'll put some of that in one of his videos. He didn't put it in the
Yeah.
last one, but I know that Taro is pressed for time. They filmed the one day and had it out the next, which is pretty
Yeah.
impressive. I could
Yeah.
never do that.
Yeah.
So, but then again, I am old.
Yeah. Yeah. They're doing good with their fishing. They had their sturgeon video one, I think, last week.
And a
So,
trout one too, I believe. Yep. So
yep. So they're getting geared up with their new channel. So
they'll get their glamper. There'll be no stopping them. They'll be all over the
I
place.
know they were there and they came up to me and said, "Can we get a tour?" And I was like, "Yeah, it's a mess. I don't care though if you come look." And they loved it. And I was kind of explaining to them how we do everything with it with the boat and blah blah blah, you know. And they're like, "This will be perfect." And I'm like, "Do it, do it. Life's too short. Do it.
You're right. Do it.
Yes,
I need to listen to that advice.
do it. Life is too short. It's just money. You can't spend it when you're dead."
This is true. And if you're hungry, you could always catch crappie, right, Betty?
Exactly.
Amen.
100%.
Oh, and also I know that Luke got on some morels too. Him and
Oh
Tara
yeah,
caught
yeah.
some.
And I seen Troy and
I found
Amy took a picture with one that they had found, and then you said one of your friends found some.
Yeah, he found quite a few, and he has no idea what he's doing, but he still managed to find some. So
Well, I talked to Brandon about that. I said we should go look around some of these state areas and see if we can find some mushrooms. And you know, our mushroom season here was done, but they're just firing up there. And he's like, you're not going to have time to cook them and they're just going to go bad, which he's probably right. He's like, you're not going to stop fishing to do that. And he's like, you just went through your whole morel season. So you're not dying for morels like I am early in the year every year. And I'm like, yeah, you know, you're right. I'm not going to stop and do that. So let's just fish. That's what we're here for.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I get those blinders on. I mean, if we didn't have that super slow day that one day, I never would have went and explored the rest of that
Yeah.
lake. I really wouldn't have.
And something else, and I know we always talk about doing it and we never do it, but we really, really, really need to make time to do this next year. We always talk about taking a day and going pan fishing and crappie fishing and all this different stuff. But it sounds like to me, after talking to Jerry, we really need to go to that. What is it?
Monona.
Monona.
Mhm.
And go fish over there, because also I've really been wanting to bring home some pike to eat. I've never had it and my mom loves it. And the stipulations on Mendota are very strict. You get one and it has to be 40 inches. But on
40
the
inches.
other, the other lake, it only has to be like 26, Jerry said.
If I'd have known that, I'd have brought that 32 that I caught.
Yes.
I
So
totally would have brought it
I
home.
really need to take like half a day, either the last day or the day before, enough that I can get them home. You know what I mean? Which we'll just clean them up there and get them froze, because I don't even know how to clean them. Apparently they have white bones, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we say that, but it never happens.
I know, but I want to.
We get our minds settled on those big channel cats and get all crazy over them,
It's
and
awful, isn't it? We say it
it
every
is.
year and we
It's
never
like
do it.
it's an obsession once you start
Mhm.
chasing them. Once you catch that one that's in the high teens, you're thinking, "Oh my God, that 30's right around the corner."
Mhm.
It happens every year we go there, and it's understandable. So I'm getting better at accepting it.
Mhm.
So,
Well,
but
that's just like that big one that was all belly, and Brandon weighed it and he got like 24.06 or something. And I'm like, that's not right. It's got to be bigger than that. I know it's bigger than Mark's. I'm weighing it again. And I weighed it again. And it was 24.09. And I was like, damn it. I was so frustrated because I wanted to beat you so bad.
I know
But
you did. Everybody wants to hurt my feelings. What's wrong with you people? You guys are all mean and nasty. Be nice to the old guy. What's the matter with you?
oh my gosh. But
Mhm.
yeah, and then I lied to you guys and told you it was the 26th, and y'all
And it
believed me.
looked like that. You long armed it, had that belly sticking right in front of the lens. That thing
Mhm.
looked like a monster.
It did look like a monster. It looked huge. And Brandon was so distraught about that. Quit lying to them guys. And I said, I'm not really lying. I'm picking on them. I'm going to tell them the truth. And I did. But it was just funny. I couldn't stand it. But I just couldn't tell you the real size of it until after. I
I
wanted
know.
you both to pout about it, but you didn't.
I was actually like, well, she beat Chad. Thank God.
Pike is amazing too. Yeah, that's what my mom says. She's like, every year I go up there, she's like, bring me back Pike, bring me back Pike. And I never catch one big enough.
I haven't
But
had one in a long time. The last time I had it was probably when I was a young man. We were up at Land O'Lakes, Wisconsin, and it was a shore lunch that the resort owners made for us. We brought some fish back, and it was delicious. It was those and sliced and fried potatoes. Oh my God, Betty!
mhm,
Holy Toledo,
yeah.
was that delicious?
My mom had it in Canada. They went on annual trips to Canada before COVID hit for walleye fishing, and they would catch pike up there. And it was her first time having it, and she loved it. But I've never had it, so I'm anxious to try it. I did bring her home all of her cheese that she wanted, though,
Oh
and
yeah,
I
we
took
got to
it.
talk about cheese real quick. D says, yeah, we weighed that 19.5 on 2 scales because it should have been a 20.
Yeah,
I've
and
been
then
there, done that, D.
that one was not even close, and you thought it was bigger than Chad's because you thought your scale was broke. How much was that one weigh? 19 something.
Yep.
I don't remember, but it just wasn't long enough. I think it had the girth, but not the length,
That was it. That
or
the
vice versa, one or the
Yeah,
other.
that big one that I caught, it was a combination. It had the
Mm-hmm.
length and the belly, which is why I was
Mm-hmm.
pretty excited
Yeah.
about it. But it's just a pound. A 25-pound fish hiding 1 pound of weight's fairly easy to do.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of hard to guess the weight on them. It's not like there's going to be 3 inches more of girth or another 5 inches of length. It's not
Mm-hmm.
like that. It's
Mm-hmm.
it's just size of that. It could have to do a lot with the mass of the fish. So, all right, and then on the last one of the last nights that I was there, me and you, we went over to the mouse house, didn't we, Ben?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and
For
then
the,
go ahead.
for those of you that don't know, the Mouse House is this cheese shop up in Madison. It's actually right off of I-90, and you name the cheese, they got it, don't they, Betty?
Oh, they have everything. Look, they even have this. Here, let me show you because I was eating it before.
She was eating this before the show, guys.
Hold on, let me show you. Let me get it out here so you can see it because it's open. Can you see it?
Chocolate cheese.
It is amazing.
You are weird.
It tastes like fudge, and it's made with cheddar cheese.
Why fudge? They sell fudge there too. You and Chad love that chocolate cheese.
Oh my God, it's so good. So, and then I was giving everybody samples of it because Jerry had never heard of it either. And I was giving everybody samples of it, and Amy loved it. And I was on the way home. She messaged me. She said, "Do you have the link for that place that has the chocolate cheese?" I was like, "Yep, I sure do."
They had so much good stuff. I think, but it's not cheap. I bought some like 12-year cheddar and some. My wife had me pick up some Gruyere, and I bought some blue cheese. And what else did I get? I got some dill Havarti. Those are like my favorites.
I got cowboy cheddar and the morel mushroom and leek.
The morel mushroom and leek one was really good. If I wasn't at my limit that I set for myself for cheese fund, I'd have definitely bought some of that. Next time I go up there, I'll have to pick some of that up.
Listen, if you haven't been and you think you have enough money set aside for cheese, double it.
Because
you're gonna need it.
And they give you samples of whatever you want there. I had some mango habanero cheese that was the bomb. It was fantastic. But it didn't make the cut because I'd be the only one that ate that in this house. So I'll try not to be so selfish.
And then you had to get Sheila some kind of cheese for some
Raclette machine that she bought. We're not going to get into that. We'll let you know when that we'll send you pictures once that happens. She's already talking with her friends about having them come over for that. So all that cheese is going to get used for that shindig. It should be. But
my mom takes care of my dogs while I'm on vacation all the time. I don't take them with me because when we go on the week-long trips and stuff, I don't take them because they're high maintenance and bougie and spoiled. So she takes care of them and I pay her in cheese, and it always falls on Mother's Day. So I give her Mother's Day gifts in cheese, and I spent $150 on my mom just on cheese. So you and she got like 5 or 6 pounds. And
she got a good bag full of that's for sure.
She did. And then I had to have cheese for myself. So like I said, make sure the cheese fund is.
And it's cheese and a lot of it's aged, so it'll last a while. You don't need to eat it all in like one sitting. So
well, tell them about your block of cheese from last year.
Oh, I had a block of like it was like the fifth, was it 15 year? It wasn't cheap.
I thought it was 5.
No. This was it was older than that. I think it was either the 12 or the 15. I could be mistaken, but I had that pretty much in my fridge for a year. And Betty's like, "Really?" I go, "It's 15 years old when I buy it. It ain't going to get hurt in another year." And it did. And the stuff tastes fantastic. It's got this.
You ate it right before we went to Mendota.
Yeah, I ate it right before we left. It's got these crystals in there from the aging process, which give it a little kind of a crunch when you bite into it. It's really a weird thing, but very, very, very good. I mean, they had a 20-year.
They dropped the 20-year cheese this year.
They had a cedar freaking box for like $200. It was ridiculous.
Does anybody want to guess how much a pound of that was?
It was like $200.
No, that's if you bought the little box with the thing in it. But just a block, like the 1 pound block of cheese was $100 for the 20-year. Yeah.
There's something wrong with us, Betty.
I wouldn't eat that though. I don't even like that sharp stuff that I buy from my mom. I'm not a fan of really sharp cheese, but she is. And she didn't even care. I bought her the 15-year last year and it was too sharp for her. She didn't care for it. She prefers the 7. So I bought her the 7-year. And did you really, Dee? Was it good?
Dee said, remember, we're on audio podcast here. I got to read these out loud so the people who aren't watching can hear it.
I forget.
Betty.
I'm sorry.
Get hooked on Dee Fish. It says, we had the morel cheese on burgers tonight. That sounds good.
That was the suggestion of the staff at the Mouse House, was to have that cheese on burgers.
I can see how that would be good.
Oh, a half pound was $100. Okay, so it was $200 a pound. I looked at it wrong then. Wow.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, but yeah, the people at the Mouse House said it is the best thing ever on burgers. So I got a block of it.
If I'd have heard them say that, I'd have bought some because I've been dying for some good burgers.
Now you said you were going back up to Mendota next week, so go get some.
I don't know yet. We'll see. We'll see if I wake up tomorrow and there's a bunch of pictures of flatheads being caught on the river, I'm hitting my river. If not, I might head up to Mendota this week when we're might. Don't get out of hand, people, and call me a liar. I said might.
You need to keep me posted on when they start spawning. That way I can figure out when I'm coming up there to shovelhead fish with you.
The date we set on, I think, is probably a good date.
Okay.
I think we'll get on it. We're going to get on it. We won't get on any numbers, but we might get on a big girl or two. So that's what I want to put you guys on. I want to put you on at least 30 in the 30s. Maybe we can get you on a 40 if we get lucky. But fishing with you and Brandon, we fish pretty hard. You guys aren't, shy. You'll go all night long till daylight. We'll get them. We'll get on them probably like a date when the sun goes down. And when the sun comes up, either or. So if we're gonna stay out all night, we'll bring some food with us and hang out and we'll have a good time. I'm definitely.
I'll just plug the crock pot in on the boat.
There you go. Right on. Heck, I live when I'm on a boat. I live on powdered donuts and trail mix usually during the year, but that's got to change. Actually, I'm drinking the water because of you now.
Good job.
Oh boy! All right, folks. Well, Betty, thank you for your time. We've been on here for a while.
No problem. Have we been on here that long?
Oh yeah, we're over.
Time flies when you're having fun.
Exactly. I always love talking to you, whether it's on here or whether it's around the table in front of your camper at your house or even on FaceTime. It's always good to hang out.
Ditto.
That's why I love you to death.
Ditto.
Love you to death. All right, everybody. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you guys got a kick out of this show. We will be back next week again at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. If I go fishing, I will go live for a little bit and hope to see everybody there. So have a good night. Get out there, get fishing, and this weather's going to start getting better. And again, happy belated Mother's Day if I missed anybody. God bless you. Bye-bye.
Bye.